Hey everyone, and welcome to the Lene Show. Thank you for everyone who's tuning in to me tonight. And if this is your first time, hey, welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate the support. So anyone that has been following my podcast for the past 3 years, you know that this is a verbal journal for me. I have been journaling pretty much my whole life since I was young, and maybe like some of you, you grew up feeling like you were an afterthought and you had to write down your feelings because maybe you didn't have someone, or you felt at the time you didn't have someone that you could go to and talk to about your feelings. And, I just want to say I do, or I did have people that I could have talked to growing up, but that's just not what I felt. And it's nothing against my mom or my grandmother who worked super hard. But just like every parent, me included, I'm a mom, we make mistakes, and sometimes we just don't see that our kids, are going through something. And so basically, that's what this podcast is for me. It's my way of journaling, but talking through my feelings, talking through my thoughts, and hoping that someone out there can understand where I'm coming from, and it helps them, and even give back some feedback, because maybe you went through this and you got past it, and now you also want to share that with me or anyone else who are going through things emotionally and just need an outlet. And sometimes you just need to talk things through and initially just kind of get it out there, right? And then get some feedback. It's not always like, oh, talk, and then you talk to me back. So for me right now, I'm feeling kind of lost. Personally, there's a lot going on in my life, and I don't know where to begin or how to start to get to a place where I'm okay with letting go of people that really should not, be in my life. And we all, especially right now with the pandemic, right? Everyone is going through something internally. But for me personally, it's just, I'm having a hard time just accepting and acknowledging that I'm not okay. I'm not okay with the treatment that I'm getting from people in my life. I'm not okay where I am emotionally, and it's starting to take a toll, right? It's starting to bother me. It's starting to affect me, how I eat, how I sleep, how my day goes. And that's when you have to say to yourself, okay, there's a problem. And so, I don't know how other people are coping with this. I'm all for therapy. I've gone to therapy. I've done group sessions and all of that stuff, and that stuff does help. So this is me reaching out and just talking about the fact of feeling lost and just not, basically just not knowing, what to do and where to go with this. And just letting go. Just letting go. I don't know why but why any of us are always so determined to accept mistreatment from other people. And, I'm a Taurus, and anybody who follows astrology, and actually studies it, the one thing if you do, that Taurus is our, if you want to call it toxic trait or bad habit, is holding on to people that you shouldn't. And it's obvious that you shouldn't, but you want to prove yourself, right? We believe that we can prove our worthiness, that if I just give you enough time to acknowledge my value, to acknowledge my worth, that it's going to happen, right? And you don't have to be a Taurus. Tons of people suffer from that. I'm just saying that if you follow astrology, you do know that is a trait. But for me personally, separate regardless of the fact that I'm a Taurus, that is a trait for me. It has been for me I want to say since I was a kid, because even back when I was young, I'd have friends who weren't friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe the friends that make fun of you, or the friends who poke at little things about you, or maybe the friends who know something that's going on in your life. Not that's not specific to me, but just like, for example, if friends know that maybe, you don't have a dad at home, or who know that you have like clothes from Goodwill, whatever, but they pick at that, they poke at you, they say things, and you're like, well, are they really your friends? And when you're young, it's okay, because when you're a child, you don't have control over a lot of things, right? You can't control who your parents are. You can't control what school you go to. Depending on how strict your household is, you probably might not be able to control what kind of clothes you wear and where you go, and you have a curfew. So when you're a kid, I get it. We're young, we're immature. We are learning how to navigate through life. So it makes sense that at a young age, you don't understand what a bad friend is, or even what a bad adult is, right? That's how kids get taken advantage of and get exploited and all of that stuff. But once you become an adult, I think for me, I find it so, I'm trying to think of what's the word. It just bothers me that as an adult to still have that issue. You know what I'm saying? To still not be able to say, but this person isn't my friend. You know what I'm saying? Or this person isn't my partner, or this person doesn't have the best interests for me. You know what I'm saying? And like, when you're a kid, I get it. But when you're an adult, it's like, well, how much more does someone have to do? How much unnice does someone have to treat you for you to acknowledge that, hey, this is not okay? And codependency is just as unhealthy as the person who is mistreating you. You understand what I'm saying? It's just as deep. It's the fact of you really fighting so hard for friends and relationships that aren't feeding you, aren't reciprocated, is a problem. And like I said, it's something that I have been battling since I was a kid, and it started with friends, and it even started with relationships. I was in a abusive relationship with my kid's father for almost 6 years. It was close to the 6 year, and it was like, it was fear. You know what I'm saying? And I even can acknowledge why I stayed in that one. I can acknowledge why I stayed in all of them. It's always fear. It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of what's going to happen when this ends. It's the fear of where am I going to be, right? So if I nitpicked my relationship, starting with, my daughter's father, it was it was the fear of, the initial is the fear of, is he gonna let go? Am I gonna lose my life? All of that stuff plays into it when it's a physical abuse, but also it was the fear of, here I am, a young mom. I had two, at this point now, I have two daughters, and the fear of, is anyone going to love me, right? Because anyone who was a young or a teen mom like me, you feel like, are you going to be able to find someone to love you? Being such a young mom, having two kids, and, really working my ass off, having a full-time job, going to school full-time, and having to be a full-time mom, and then still finding time for yourself, finding time for your peace. And are you going to find someone who's going to take all that, right? So a lot of that was fear. And it sucks that it always takes something drastic for you to finally say, this is not okay. And I thank God every day that it didn't end in me having to lose my life, or even him losing his, because we all know that a lot of times us as women of domestic violence, sometimes we end up getting to the point where we don't care, and we hurt the abuser, and then we're in jail and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that a lot of it was fear. And then after that, I really felt like I took all of the steps, the proper steps when it comes to therapy and parenting classes and all of that stuff. I thought I took all the proper steps to really put that behind me. And I did. And I did put that behind me, but I realized I still have the same issues in relationships with both men and women, because I do date both men and women. But I noticed that I still will allow things from the very beginning that you shouldn't. And then it's like, but why? And it's it's me still trying to figure out, well, maybe if I do this, or maybe if I say this. And we have to take our own accountability, right? Because I know I've sat here tons of times, meditating and praying to God and really saying to him, help me get through this. How come I'm in this? But I'm a firm believer that if you don't do the work, the prayer ain't gonna work either. I know, I'm not someone who thinks, oh, all you have to do is pray. No, I really feel like the prayer helps you, guides you, gives you the strength. God puts his hand on your shoulder and says, I am going to help you through this, but you still got to get through it. You still got to walk. Like, I can't get you across the bridge. I'm just not going to pick you up and put you on the other side of that bridge. You got to walk across the bridge yourself. And that is where I'm not doing the work, right? I'm not taking accountability for the fact of, okay, so what are you doing when these things go on? And I never want people, especially me, I never want us to feel like someone's actions did not affect us. Someone's actions didn't make me feel this way. No, someone's actions did do this. Some way someone talked to me, the way someone treated me, whatever you did, but what did you do after that? You understand? Like, did you stand up for yourself and say, hey, this is what I don't like? And if they can't give it to you, did you move on? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what is it that I'm doing initially that allows this treatment? And the truth is, what I'm doing is I'm allowing things to keep going that should have an ending. And that is where I battle. And I don't know what to do. Like, I've really come to a point where I need everyone to let me go. And that's not healthy either. But it's bad that I've just come to the point where I'm just like, you can just walk out of my life. It's super easy. I'm not going to stop you. But that's not okay, because until that happens, I'm going to sit back and take the treatment, this friendship not giving me, this relationship not doing what I needed to do. And then, and knowing when, and I just feel like just knowing when that is, and being able to have that conversation, because I think that's something else I battle with. Back in my early 20s or even my teenage years, yes, I had a hard time expressing myself. And this is where I feel like therapy and just having positive people, that has changed. I used to literally just sit back and hold it in and not let you know that you were hurting me. And that's not fair, right? Because no one's a mind reader. No one knows, when you're going. And obviously, if you are a human, I feel like you can tell when someone is not okay, but do they care, right? But over these years, as I have grown and learned and just really acknowledged things and my part, I have come to the point where I'm okay with telling you that I'm not okay. But once I say that I'm not okay and you're not listening or you don't care, that is where I'm supposed to take myself. And this is the part, right? This is the part I'm having the issue with. I express myself, I let you know that it's not okay, and yet the action still happens, and yet I'm still here. And it's like, it's the toxicity of it all is just like, it's just a reoccurring thing. And I think the problem that I have, and many of us have, because I know I'm not the only one who feels that way, is that letting go of the attachment to that toxic trait, right? Because me holding on, me trying to figure out a way to navigate your toxicity, your treatment of me, is really a defense. It's me not acknowledging maybe any unhealed wounds. It's me not accepting the fact that, hey, these things are bothering me. These are things I'm still dealing with. And if I let it go, then I'll have to acknowledge that, right? I'll have to acknowledge that I'm not maybe in the best place that I thought I was. And that I'm, I have some more work to do. And I also feel like, then you get emotional, right? Then you get all upset. And especially as a woman, they want to say that you're crazy or you're acting, erratic or you're being annoying. And listen, I'm the first to tell you that I've overreacted. I am an emotional person when my feelings get hurt. it